Hi, Timmy. I hear you want to be a voice actor.
My name isn't Timmy, and why are you in black and white?
Have you been told you have a face for radio?
Actually, yeah, they tell me that my voice is... Wait, did you say face?
Do you feel like you have a knack for portraying different emotions?
Well, not to brag, but I have been acting for a while.
Do you have a thick skin and able to take criticism constructively and not personally?
Well...
That's swell, Timmy. It sounds like you may be suited for a career as a voice actor.
Still not Timmy.
All you need is...
Yeah?
a good microphone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A good place to record.
Will this work?
And a passion for creating characters on the spot with little to no information.
Now you're talking.
Also, listening to people that have gone through it could help.
You mean like that Cold Read podcast recorded live at 1 p.m. Sunday on twitch.tv/Zamoody?
Exactly, Timmy. Which is starting right now.
Oh, sweet. I wonder what they're talking about today.
Coming in from all over the world. A podcast by voice actors for voice actors. This is Cold Read. We're not claiming to be experts. This podcast is designed not only to help us, but to help you, the listener. By us sharing our experience and talking to each other, we hope you will be more prepared in starting your journey in voice acting. With our hosts, Renara Hawke.
I won my battle with the shark. I won it. I wanted to hang his carcass up in my room, or well, in the living room. But unfortunately, he came back to life and he knocked my internet router out.
PrincessPashley.
I am Princess Hasna of the Lost Kingdoms of Mayafall. I thank you for your cordial invitation, Sir Jeremy. I must say, this is a lovely office.
Eldurrino.
People say to take care of your voice and to hydrate, like there's some sort of all-knowing deity bent on forcing people to drink water or something.
Zamoody.
I've been practicing. Listen to this.
With special guest host, Ravenmane.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Listen to what other people are doing. Absolutely, absolutely. If they do something cool, steal that.
Today, we will talk to Birnam, a voice actor who just recently started their journey. And now, let's roll tape.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whether you are here live with us on twitch.tv/Zamoody, watching us on YouTube, or listening to us anywhere where you have podcasts. This is Cold Read, a voice actor podcast. Welcome, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, hey. So, that was the intro. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Big thank you again to Ravenmane helping me out as the part of Timmy, or not Timmy. Don't forget us. We all snap for you, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, just
So as is usual, we will check in with everybody, and then we will go into our initial guest today, which is Birnam. Thank you so much for being here, Birnam, and we'll check back to you in a second. So as usual, let's check back on the other side of the world. Ren, how are you this week?
All right, I'm doing okay. I've been busy trying to edit like basically loads of videos that I had filmed quite a while ago to get out onto my channel today, and because it's the end of half term today and most of the students are coming back tomorrow, I have just been frantically editing, doing auditions, just trying to cram as much as I can into this small week of not having to work sort of thing. So I'm really excited for the one that we all did, actually, because upon reading it, I was like, it's one of those ones that you're like, I really, really hope I get this one sort of thing. But You got to just let it go. I remember you got to let it go. But yeah, it's been a good week.
Excellent.
Good productive week.
Yeah, feel free to unmute Birnam. Feel free. You can chime in too. Where you're not. I will check with you next to last, Ravenmane. So Eldurrino, welcome back.
Hey.
Hey, how was your week?
Sorry, I had to pick up a pea that fell from my pot pie that I viciously ingested 10 minutes prior to this podcast. It was on the floor. My week was good. I've been kind of in a funk lately as far as getting those auditions, and as of yesterday, though, I submitted probably about 11 or 12 that I recorded yesterday.
Nice.
So that helped a lot. I was tired of beating myself up. So yeah, so did that. I otherwise the week was just kind of like a normal week, nothing really special to speak of.
Yeah,
I've been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild now that I'm done with Death Stranding.
Oh, yay. Well, and then there's another game too that we mentioned last week that you're playing.
Yes. Yeah, good old Valheim. I should not have shaved. I wish I could let my beard grow out like Birnam's, and get that whole Viking look going. But
right?
Unfortunately, my Italian genes do not allow for it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're out of your funk. We've all been there. We all understand. So
yeah, big mood for that kind of week. Yeah.
Ravenmane, welcome. Thank you for stepping in for Pashley. Unfortunately, Pashley was not feeling well after taking the second dose of the vaccine. She's doing okay, but had a rough night last night. So we're gonna have another night off, and thank you for stepping in, Ravenmane.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
How's your week been, sir?
My week was weird because last week was the last week where New Jersey community theater people were sharing what they were doing with their musicals that were going to be opening in March and April and May. So it's been there's a really weird energy in that area of my life. And then I couldn't find my guitar strings to restring my guitar on Friday. It was a weird week.
Oh,
jeez.
Well, good. Well, again, welcome. Birnam, let's talk about your week. How has it been since we asked you to join in? How have you been doing?
I have peaks and troughs most weeks. It's that's life with a toddler, and trying to get any productive work done while looking after a toddler every day, all day, means trying to gauge whether or not you're going to try to recover your energy after she goes to bed, or if you try to get more stuff done. And you try and half it, but that means do you do some actual paid work in the evening, or do you do all of the dishes and the laundry that needs to be done? So that's been kind of my life. And in the same way, it's Eldurrino, the kind of auditioning had fallen on the wayside a little bit. I hadn't really auditioned last week, or I don't think the week before, but this was good that I was able to do a couple of auditions yesterday.
Nice.
Getting to do the one for this and the one for Renara's project.
Yay!
And having a little one in the house too, that also must make it really hard to find time to do the VO.
Yeah, finding the space, right up to logging in to do this podcast. It was is she going to have a nap or is she not? And that determined where I was going to sit down to record it, which room, and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting, but at the same time, it's rich creative ground for a lot of stuff.
Right.
I'm Sesame Street voices 24/7.
Yeah, I could just be your niche. Why not?
Yeah. There you go.
It's when you're immersed in those kind of voices for so long, and then and you don't want to be having your kid watching TV 24/7, but you watch she watches some Sesame Street, she becomes attached to those characters. So then the fun thing for her playtime is she's got a toy phone.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she just go on the phone with Grover? So then it's, hello, how are you doing?
There you go. Yeah. That's
awesome. Is your fuzzy blue pants Grover here?
Oh, well, see, was that like one of the first voices that you actually started doing, or?
Oh, I'm one of these people that's just been voices since I was a wee kid.
Oh, nice.
So echolalia is the term. I just mimicked everything growing up. And I was brought up with watching lots of like golden age of animation, Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, lots of that kind of stuff. And yeah, just always very about the voices. And then when I got more into video games, the kind of voice acting in games like the Baldur's Gate series, like that. Yeah.
So I was similar in the sense of when I was younger, I used to watch all the Barbie films because girl. Right. I've forgotten. I think his name was Biffle. He's the one from Fairytopia. He's the tiny blue thing that floats around. And he sort of goes. He never speaks words, but he's like. And that was the first voice I ever tried to do. But it's sort of like the grounds for where like I started doing random stuff and things like that. But that was the first one I ever did, and I'd like to keep doing it.
Ravenmane knows I did a whole back with the Twitch things days. I did a whole version of the Lonely Island's Jack Sparrow as Elmo.
No,
nice. Yes.
Did you ever download that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you get a chance to put it up on YouTube, please do so, because I'd love to watch that.
Please.
Just real quick for me to check in. So I had myvoices.com. So a couple weeks ago I mentioned that I got a role. It was for a visual novel for a game called The Stars Among Us, I want to say. And
I think that was it.
Yeah, and I got the part of Dan. So in the last week, I literally did 7 chapters, and it was all directed. So I had the director in my ear the whole time as I'm standing in the booth. We did 6 chapters in one day. We did like 2.5 hours, just straight. So that was an experience. It was a lot of fun. The name is Demetrius. Great guy, gives great directions, knows when to back off and just let you do what you want. So if you've never been in a live direction, it's essentially, here's your line. They fill in kind of the backstory, and then you try it. And then you try it, and you try it, and you try it. And eventually he'll go, that's good. I like that one. And then you stop. Or he'll say, give me like 2 more, something like that. And then the other one that is, it was like, I kept, the character, the main character's name is Rio. I kept wanting to say Ryu because it was R-Y-O, R-Y-U. And he's like, he'd let me go through it like once or twice, and it's Rio. Oh, damn it. Other than that, I got cast as Tethras, which is the another Skyrim companion. He's starting to send me some stuff. We tried some different voices, and now I think we've picked one, and we're gonna go with that. So a lot of fun. Audition wise, nothing really moved other than the ones that we did here. So we'll see what happens. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's been a fun week. But yeah, our guest today is Birnam. Birnam, as you've mentioned, you came from the Twitch Sings community.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that gave me the confidence to try and approach it. Like years and years and years and years of people saying, hey, you should try voice acting, that kind of stuff, and years and years and years and decades of doing funny voices all the time, and being interested in the kind of the mechanics and the logistics of it. And over the last 5 years, like studying the linguistic aspects and stuff like that. But nothing that made me confident enough to actually investigate how to audition for these kind of things. And that's definitely where going on Twitch Sings and seeing the range of talent there, and people just doing it from their homes, plus me putting myself out there. This was pretty much on the back of my younger sister is a Twitch streamer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Molly
that.
Of Doom. Yeah, she's a fantastic singer. But she's variety streamer. did some Twitch things, and I thought that looks fun, and I think I have the hardware to handle it. So I'm going to go on and I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to see if it feels comfortable. I'm going to do that. So I logged on and I did the I Got a Dream from Disney's Tangled. Which I thought, okay, this is one I'm comfortable with. I know it because I was watching it 3 times a day with my daughter, and it's just a whole bunch of funny voices. It's I'm malicious, mean, and scary, and 5 other voices that you need to do to sing that song. And I posted one half of the duet for that, and then people started responding, and it's like, oh, this feels really good, and I just became very much part of the community from there. But then, of course, the whole thing closes down 3 months after I start getting into it.
Well, I was going to be one of my questions. So you're only in there for about 3 months.
Yeah, 3-4 months maybe. And so, yeah, and obviously coming out of that and how strong that community was, and that confidence build of every week going on doing half a dozen songs, and then getting the feedback throughout the week of people enjoying interacting with that. I started feeling that I needed to do something more along those lines, and seeing people like yourself, Zamoody, who are then also doing successful voice acting work, I figured, yeah, okay. And then seeing the podcast, seeing things like Casting Call Club, that such an easy framework to start getting into it and putting yourself out there. I figured, why not? Yeah.
Well, good. We're glad that we were able to help. I know it's a shame Pashley's not here, because she's mentioned like we really should be bringing more of the people that were doing Twitch things into the voice acting community, because the reality is we have all of the equipment to do this.
Right. We have the equipment. We have the earned confidence in speaking into a mic with no immediate feedback, but with the understanding that there are going to be people enjoying and appreciating what you're doing, and just the range of talent in terms of people who are the fantastic singers, people who are the fantastic actors, people who are fantastic at doing various types of vocal work. Like a number of times, I was in chats and we're discussing like, oh, we should put on a radio play with just, the people who are doing Twitch things.
Right.
It would be very doable, I think.
Oh yeah, I think Orange and I have discussed trying to do something like, we want to do something for Christmas, but we just ran out of time. So maybe stuff for the future. Maybe everybody here would be interested, and we'll bring in Orange and we'll put something together. Yeah. Oh,
I didn't get to be part of the Twitch Things community until it went. So.
Right.
I know.
Well, that's what I said. Everybody here, and the people from the Twitch Things community. So I am including you in this one, right? Because I love your voice.
Thank you. As much as I hate it myself, but
we all hate our voice, and this is the thing that I've talked about before. We all hate our voices. This is not.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to bring up as well. Actually, I hate my regular speaking voice because it can't decide what it is. But putting on voices, that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, like voice acting, fine. I've said this to Matt on several occasions. Like, I can do voice acting. Getting me to sing, however, in front of people, that is a different story.
Well, it's funny because I got a clip of you singing now, so it's good.
I know.
Yeah. You all have to be careful what you give me, because you're starting to see that I'm using these on my intros.
It's fine. It's the sort of thing of, if I don't do it, it'll never happen. So it's kind of like, I just do it, and then I'll just be cringing internally later. It's fine.
I may have written that one part about the deity specifically for that reason. So
you knew I was going to use it. Nice. I've got one forever now, so I'm happy. So okay, so you had this equipment, Birnam, and you decided to go for it. You heard from us, Casting Call Club. Have you branched out of Casting Call Club, or are you still for the most part there?
I'm still, for the most part, there. It's a very convenient thing for being able to, sit down at the weekend when I have the free time, locked away while wife distracts the kid, and just look through the auditions, record them, post them straight onto the audition, and then take it from there. And mostly it's that I'm not too aware of what the other resources are. I had heard the first thing I'd heard like before listening to the podcast or anything was mostly about Fiverr. But I made an account for that. But it's a very strange platform to try to just, unless you go in knowing very specifically what you want to do, what your rates are going to be, and what the exact product you're going to offer. It's a really unwieldy platform. It throws dozens of like completely pointless questions at you during, the account creation system, and then it goes, okay, you've made an account now you have to market your product. It's like, what? So
I think Fiverr is more like Casting Call Club's like the first step, and Fiverr is like up here a little bit. It's once you actually have something established and you want to present it to everybody, as your business.
Absolutely, yeah. Then I quickly got that impression, and then kind of went, okay, I have the account there ready for when I'm ready for that. I won't touch it till then. But then I saw that there were other forums and stuff available. I'm really curious about what.
Well, like this week's audition, for example, you saw that Eldurrino found one from another one, which is similar to Casting Call Club. And Ravenmane, I appreciate you being here only because if you guys don't know, first off, I'm going to say Ravenmane's an accomplished and where's your award? Your award is back there, right? There's your award
right there.
Yeah, award-winning actor. So this is always so nice to have you on. The other thing I'm going to say, and thank you for bringing up Fiverr because I forgot, I finally, after putting my Fiverr out there, I got 2 gigs in one day, and I've actually already completed it, and it's been paid off and it's been done. So after like 6 months of nothing happening on Fiverr, all of a sudden I got 2 pings in the same day. So keep an eye on your email because that seems to happen. So
yeah, it definitely feels as well like a much more sort of, you cast your line and then you wait, and then people have to find you. Yes. Whereas the advantage of casting call auditions is you hunt down the roles that you want, and then you can be a bit more active in it. And then
on speaking about different places, I don't know, Eldurrino, you might know, or Eldurrino Zamoody, you might know a place called BeyondSkyrim.org. Has anyone heard of that?
I have not.
It is another group that are making basically. I don't think it's officialized, but it's got projects like Black Marsh, Iliac Bay, elsewhere. It's like Skywind, but for the places that haven't been put into the games so far. I know there's an Elder Scrolls 6, which I think has been. They haven't said it's in High Rock, but that's roughly around it. And I was just looking through it, and I know that the one for Black Marsh is looking for voice actors at the moment. So I would look it up and have a look if you're interested. I'd say have a look at it. It's called Beyond Skyrim, and it's pretty official looking from the looks of it. Because I'd saved it for going back to it on an occasion, sort of where like it's not something I'm always constant like going, oh, I need to do this. It's like, if there's something I'm interested in once I've finished Skywind, then maybe. But I've got a lot of other things. But I thought, hey, because we were just talking about, I was like, I remember this. Let me just see if it's still a thing. Yeah. And it seems to be. So yeah.
Very interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check that out.
That's cool.
So let me ask you, Ravenmane, since you're mostly, I mean, you've done obviously a couple things for us when you come on. Is it mostly like that out in the acting world too? You do the audition and then you just wait for a while, or does it happen a lot faster?
I like the juxtaposition between the Casting Call Club and the Fiverr because I have no idea what the deal with Fiverr is. I've never looked at Fiverr. I've never touched Fiverr. I know less than nothing about Fiverr.
Okay.
But Fiverr, from the sounds of it, is a lot like what the hell is it called? It's like this New Jersey theater organization collective audition that they have. It's like a yearly thing. All the big regional theaters in the state of New Jersey have everyone come in and they audition. And based on your audition, based on what you have presented to this panel of people, they will then pick, all right, we want this person for this show this season. We want this person for this show this season. We want this person for this show this season. That's kind of like
interesting.
The up here thing where Casting Call Club it's basically community theater insofar as you are putting yourself out there and you can basically pick and choose, like, I want to audition for that, I want to audition for this, I want to audition for this.
Yes, that's exactly right. Because somebody will look up and go like voice actors, and then they'll see a listing of voice actors, and they'll pick what they want, and the rates are on there, and what you charge, and they decide whether or not they can message you and ask questions. But yeah, Casting Call Club is more like, it's targeted. You're right. It's there. You see it. You're going in for Hamlet if you're going to do, that particular Shakespeare. When it comes to Fiverr, it's like, here's the stuff I've done. You like it? Great. If not, move on.
I almost get like a cameo vibe from Fiverr sometimes, where it's people who are saying like, I'll voice your D&D character for 50 cents a word or whatever, and then people are just kind of saying, oh yeah, just say this and I'll give you $3. And
man, 50 cents a word would be nice.
Yes.
that was entirely off the top of my head.
Let me tell you, I did find out that the minimum that you can charge per gig on Fiverr is $5.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Excellent branding.
Yeah.
Fiverr and Cameo are pretty similar in the sense that it's like I said, it's something you want to have something established for, so that you have like a reel and whatnot to show off people and say, hey, here's what I can do. Cameo is more for like people who have gone past that and are recognized, and then people search for those people specifically, whereas I think Fiverr is more like, I just want to look for a variety of different things. I don't know what exactly I'm looking for. I'm going to look up, like Zamoody said, look up voice actors, look up such and such voice, like commercial voice or video game voices, etc. Yeah.
So it was like based off of one of my character reels. They're like, oh, hey, we like voice from this point to this point. Can you use that for this character? And that's basically how it worked out. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. Very interesting that they do have something like that live. Ravenmane, it's good to know. Hopefully, once everything gets back to normal, that'll become a little more active.
Sure would be nice.
I know. So okay, Birnam. So you've decided to stick around in Casting Call Club. How has that gone for you?
It's gone well. I haven't had many bites. I haven't had any bites as far as fishing analogies are continued. But it's been, again, it's a good thing. It's not just putting out a demo reel and then waiting. It's actively practicing in order to do the auditions as well. It's our practice, and you improve in confidence and skill as you do them, and you're doing it. For me, it's doing it every week. It could be every day, but and going and finding roles allows you to test the parameters of what your comfort zone is as well. There are roles that are spot on perfect for me, which is dwarves and Vikings and other generally deep gravelly voices. But then I can test out some other things that.
Because you tested out doing an Arabic accent for my one.
Exactly. Which, accents I'm comfortable with. I wasn't. I don't see the difficulty on that one. I think was being the charming, friendly guy. Like, no, I'm good with like gravelly, grim son of a bees. Yeah,
the tough guy.
Yeah, tough guy kind of stuff. Or
they're always the fun. The villain's always really fun to play for this sort of thing. It's that sort of aesthetic / appeal. I think.
Right, absolutely. But I'm going for lots of middle-aged to senior roles as well, because that fits what I'm comfortable doing with my voice. And so I was considering like the Spider Silk Merchant as well but couldn't land exactly on a comfortable thing for that. But I'll think about that and I'll come back. That's the other good thing.
Yeah.
That you can see when a deadline is due on a casting call, and kind of either sit down and try recording some stuff there and then, or you can go away and you can think about it and you can come back and try out a thing and go, actually no, I won't submit that. It doesn't sound how I want it. And then just keep trying it until.
I always encourage people to do that when it comes to the thing. If you're not 100% comfortable when you find it, go away and give it a go, practice. And if you're still not comfortable, you don't have to do it. It's just sort of the thing of like, that's why I give lots of time and stuff. Also for casting call, I kind of like, I don't know if you find it like it catalogs and organizes all of the auditions you do. So on your own profile, you have all of them there. And it's sort of, I find it nice to be able to look back on the first one I ever did and then see how it changed.
We're gonna have to do that one of these days, because I think all of us have done a casting call club. Oh, that's gonna be rough to hear.
Yeah, that page you're talking about as well is a good. You know, I check in on there every couple of days. To and the fun thing, the fun / good thing is getting the occasional comment saying this was really good, or the occasional upvote, or like you have to subscribe to the gold membership to see the listen count, how many people have listened to it. But then the workaround for that is that you can just list your auditions by the listen to count. It doesn't show them. So from that, you can deduce which ones have been listened to more than other ones.
If they don't change, that's going to be a bit of a...
Right, yeah. It's, and then you're just left with the question of, okay, so were the ones at the bottom just never listened to? Or were they listened to only once? I
bought gold subscription just so I didn't have to just worry about, like, so I could see. Otherwise, I'd be like, just...
It was the worst thing I ever did. I will never do it again. Let me tell you, you obsess so badly over it. So, absolutely. And again, that's got to be a different thing when it comes to actual like live doing the audition versus sitting there being focused. Because when you're doing it live, they're listening to it. But when it comes to like the casting call club stuff, they don't always do. I mean, if I've looked at myvoices.com, it's like half of the stuff that I put out isn't even listened to. So,
but again, I got used to that with Twitch things as well. There were songs I did that got hundreds of listens and dozens of duets, and then there were things that nobody ever duetted with. It's
those are one of those lessons that you get, and I totally understand. It's very cool, very cool. So unfortunately, well, I mean, not unfortunately, you haven't landed anything, but you're getting a ton of practice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And and it's understanding as well that this is me starting off. This is mostly me doing it to see if it will go anywhere. It would be cool if it goes somewhere. I don't have massively high hopes on it. But if it results in doing some fun stuff, it's worth it. If it gets me out of my comfort zone and improves my confidence, then it's absolutely worth it.
I mean, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be with it, as well as the more chances you'll have. Obviously, the more auditions, the more lines you have in the water. So definitely keep it up. Like I know you don't have like the highest expectations for it, but I mean, you nail that first roll, and you will see your confidence go through the ceiling, and you'll want to do it more. Because I know that, like, I got very fortunate with the first role I was cast for, because it was like a couple of months after I started getting really serious with it. And ever since then, like I try to set a day during the week where I just crank out as many auditions as I can find, essentially. So yeah, just keep it up, even if you don't have any expectations, and you'd be surprised what you can accomplish.
Doozy in chat is calling us out for all the fishing analogies, by the way. So FYI.
Sidebar on that, I have I've been buying this clothing from a brand called Spider, SPY, and I didn't realize that was actually a fishing line company. And so somebody asked me if I really liked fishing one day, and I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, you're wearing spider stuff, like you like fishing, right? I was like, "Not really, but I guess I do now." Anyways,
but playing off of with Eldurrino, when I auditioned for Skywind on a headset mic, and I was just sort of like, I wasn't sure exactly whether or not it was like gonna. It was just sort of the thing of, this would be kind of cool, and then they were like, "We want you," and so it was kind of like and when you get that first thing, it's like, yes. So I would say, even if you don't get to hear something within like the first even 5 months of doing it, I'd just say keep doing it. Just keep doing it, because the more you do it, the more likely you're going to get something, the more practice you'll get, and then that's when you'll start getting roles and things happen, I think. So it for everyone it's different, because again, I think as all of us have said at some point, we are presenting a product, and not everyone is going to want that product for a certain project. That's the word I'm looking for. So it's kind of like, just keep doing you and keep doing it at a basis that feels good and natural to you, in that you're still enjoying that you're doing it. If there's a few weeks where you've got to focus on your child and just completely put it to one side, put it to one side and focus on that. If it starts to become a chore and it feels like you're dragging yourself through broken glass, is the analogy I like to call, then it will start to show, and then it will just become not fun. So it's just the case of do it at a pace that you want to do it, because we're all different.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's been said before on here that, if you're not enjoying doing it, then it won't even be a good product. Therefore, no one will want it.
Exactly.
So,
Right.
I'm sure that's in real life too, right, Ravenmane?
Oh yeah.
Literally a 1-to-1 exact scale thing. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, it's very cool having you on. I wanted to bring up accents, because this is the topic that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Was your idea? And for the most part, you heard. I mean, other than I think it was Pashley who had gone pretty much to school to get a lot of that information.
Yeah. Well, she was saying with like the opera background and stuff, you really have to learn phonetics for that. Like I missed that episode live. I was looking after a kid, but like things that I'm trying to think what inspired that kind of line of questioning, or things like there's.
I'm assuming you were trying out maybe for Renara's or something, and you were thinking about that accent you were going to use.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
I was just auditioning for a lot of the Magic the Gathering Kaldheim ones. So I was just going full on Nord for half of those, but I think I was seeing other roles on Casting Club as well, that ones that were very sensibly saying this is for a role of a Black identifying person of color. Right. If you are not BIPOC, then don't audition for this. And it's like, absolutely. And this is for a trans person of color. If you're not trans and person of color, don't audition for this. And it's like, right on. But I was wondering, where's the line for that? The line is obviously going to be blurred. We have a long tradition in voice acting of, if you're, you're not just going to be doing your voice all the time. You're going to vary in various ways. That's part of the craft. But obviously, staying within a sensitive realm. Like, I can do Irish and Scottish and English and Scandinavian and French and stuff, and it'll be mostly inoffensive. But as soon as I try to do a Jamaican accent, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
I think there's it's knowing the difference between appropriating an accent and being able to do it naturally. And I think that comes with practice. And I think, say, if you've practiced it, you've had feedback from people, I think you shouldn't be deterred from auditioning. I think it should, if you feel comfortable in an accent, and I think with the nature of at least casting call, the person doesn't have to get back to you. They can just sort of half listen to it, ignore it, go away, sort of thing. So I think with the nature, because I had the same struggle, but on the other side with Irene, because Irene is a person of color in the books. So I was thinking, I was sort of thinking, okay, do I really want to know, is the person auditioning for this, do I need to know what they look like? I don't think I actually really need to know what they look like. I think I need to hear their voice and hear how they sound, because some people might have that voice that the person is imagining for that person, but they won't look at all like what they actually are. And I don't personally agree with castings that limit based on I can imagine, like, on a visual perspective, because I don't think that's what it's about. I think it's about your voice, what you're able to emulate, but I think there is a line in that respecting cultures is definitely a thing. I think it's wrong to try and to impersonate it without having trained for that voice, I think. So, because there is an issue between the sort of Black culture and sounding, if we can even call it like a person of color, that's that. But there is definitely a cultural thing in that is part of their culture and the way they sound. And I can understand that wanting somebody to sound exactly like that. I mean, what is it? The movie, was it The Black Klansman, is a perfect example of how someone can be completely different but sound exactly how you like, completely the opposite.
Right.
And I think we need to look at it in that sort of mindset. If they sound how you want them to sound, it shouldn't matter what they look like. Personally,
yeah. The person that always springs to mind for this for me is Phil Lamar, a Black voice actor who is the voice of Samurai Jack. It's right, and that's kind of.
Well, it's funny because you bring it up. I just like Hank Azaria recently decided to retire Apu's voice because he didn't want to continue doing it because he thought it might be offensive to some people. So
the voice actor for Cleveland Brown from Family Guy did the same.
I think it is, you have to weigh an audience reaction. It's so what's the word? Fluid in this industry and the products we make, art in general. I know it's probably different in live action, Ravenmane, in that if you need somebody to play a certain character, there is the element of look. The look is important, but with voice acting, that kind of is eliminated because you're just using the voice.
Even in voice acting, depending on the project, you might have a call specifically for like a Black identifying person of color. If you are not a Black identifying person of color, do not audition, because what you are looking for in that, which is a thing that can analogize into live theater, is you're looking less for the voice and more for, you want someone who A, has the voice, but B, has the lived experience.
I get you. Yeah.
Very good point.
That is a really good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly a thing I've considered in terms of like what I've considered doing before is with, the little amount of linguistic stuff I've gathered and is coaching people in doing Scottish accents. And a big part of that is that it's not just a Scottish accent, it's a Scottish dialect. And Scots itself is a language.
Yes, it's a different country. It is literally a different country.
It's a different country, and Scots is, closer to Middle and Old English than modern English or American English is. So it's not just, pronouncing things differently. It's if you're saying hoose instead of house, that's because in Old English it was hoose, and then in all the other varieties of English it changed due to Anglo-Saxon influence and French influence, and Scots just kept saying hoose. And little details like that and the way that certain words are used, I think that's a lot of the breadth and depth of doing dialect coaching and how to prepare for a role like that. Is knowing which kind of words are used or not used or used differently.
Very cool.
For sure. I know we're about to probably move on to the auditions,
but
there's one other question I wanted to ask you real quick. How many Minecraft role plays / gotcha parodies have you auditioned for, and why?
None, because I'm so confused by like what is a role play? Like I've been role playing since I was 10 years old doing Dungeons and Dragons. What is it?
Okay.
Is it live role playing?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is one of the reasons why I've stayed away from it. It's literally you in their Minecraft pretending to be that particular character while speaking as that character and playing the Minecraft character like them.
Yes. But they're auditioning it like it's
doing a LARP in Minecraft.
Yes.
Right.
Basically.
Which, nothing against that. But
the
fact that it's being the casting call is as if it's like with a scripted role.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And I thought I understood what gacha was, but I started questioning that.
I tried to look it up and I still don't understand it. All I know it has
as far as I've gathered,
gacha game of some type.
Yeah, as far as I've gathered, it's gacha is the term for like any game with like pay to play content.
Yeah, like
in it.
rolling the dice kind of thing.
Right. And there is a game/program called Gacha Club, I think, that allows you to make those and or do a similar thing to the Minecraft role playing.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I think it's that. That's what I've gathered.
And if
It's
we're
all-
wrong, please either let us know in
I will
chat,
have lots of
leave us a comment, or
15-year-olds
email
message
us,
with me.
because we're super
Well,
curious.
let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
But-
Thank you, Eldurrino, for the quote. I think Chibi was the other one that you were thinking of there, Eldurrino, which is the characterization of little. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I know what chibi is, but I don't really see a whole lot of chibi stuff. I just know I see a lot of Minecraft role plays and gotcha parodies for some reason.
Didn't they tweet
Anyways.
out something about it being like 90% Minecraft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I love that they're so self-aware.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Birnam. We're going to get to the auditions. We did all record auditions. Some not so willingly, Ravenmane.
This is what I was anxious for.
Oh, me too.
Oh,
me
you'll be
too.
fine.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay. So
you can rip into us as well.
oh, absolutely. And again, I welcome everybody to please make your comments here. We're gonna start with Renara's.
All right.
And this is the we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put them in the button, but I forgot which button it is. So here we go.
It's not a life I'd want to live if you have to lie to yourself to make yourself happy. Sooner or later you find out the truth, and everything you know will come crashing down on you anyway. What's left after that? It's not a life I'd want to live if you have to lie to yourself to make yourself happy. Sooner or later you find out the truth, and everything you know will come crashing down on you anyway. What's left after that? What do you mean you won't give me what I want? You can't just stand here and tease me with that and then take it away. That's rude. What do you mean you won't give me what I want? You can't just stand here and tease me with that and then take it away. That's rude. I can't believe I'm going on this stupid date with that stupid satyr because of stupid Yana. I can't believe I'm going on this stupid date with that stupid satyr because of stupid Yana. My home is with you. If I can keep that, if I can keep you, that promise you made me, then I'll do whatever it takes. Just come with me. My home is with you. If I can keep that, if I can keep you, that promise you made me, then I'll do whatever it takes. Just come with me. Are you seriously asking me if you were a 10 before the scar? Dante, nobody is a perfect 10. At least I've yet to see one. Are you seriously asking me if you were a 10 before the scar? Dante, nobody is a perfect 10. At least I've yet to see one. I gave the carnation to you to eat it, not to put in my hair, you dumb dork. I gave the carnation to you to eat it, not to put in my hair, you dumb dork.
So that was the extended one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused there for a minute.
Yeah,
So I was like, where are these extra lines coming from? And then I realized
There was a separate document that was at the bottom of the casting call that I found and just went, okay, so I'm going to make the sort of 3-lined one, but then I was also going to make the extended one so that like they could have both, and sort of like if they liked the 3-lined one, they can go, oh, we want to hear more. Here's this one, sort of thing. So I did both basically.
And this, folks, is why you pay attention to all of the information that is on the casting call.
I was going to say, I did not spot that.
Me either.
I read the whole. I legitimately just right up against the screen, read everything, skipped over some of the characters, read everything at the bottom, and then when it's talking about looked at this, went, oh god, there's a load more. So
I mean, granted, I'm sure it's not a requirement, but
no, it's not.
I think it'll probably help your chances.
It would probably help you in informing more about the character for the length that you are doing.
Yeah, they linked like videos of examples of like the personality of the character and whatnot. They did that more for my other one. This one was for Stella. They didn't really have too much for her other than just what they had originally and the extra lines. So I just went, I'm going to try it with the extra lines. Yeah, I'm just going to shut up and let you...
I put the extended one because I always like listening to it a little bit more. So apologies for not warning you in advance. Okay, I'm still formulating. Who's got a comment on this?
There was a lot.
There was a lot.
Try to remember.
Yes.
So first one that I took note of was the second take of the first line or the first sample.
What's left after that line? That one.
Yeah. The sadness in that one was really good. There was a mutedness to it that had a lot of depth to it. I liked that. The differences in emotional tone, especially in the later ones, like the one that was, a straight up like laughing at him, the carnation in the hair one, the one that's just straight up like, you idiot, and then one that was more kind of like, I'm kind of embarrassed by this.
Yes, it's meant to be embarrassed. Oh, thank God. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that absolutely came across.
That was the one I was the most worried about because I was just like, I literally was like doing the back rubbing, like acting it out, rubbing the back of my neck.
That came across. Exactly what I imagined.
To you to eat it, sort of thing. Yeah.
For the most part, I think from what I heard, I liked your first takes. I think there was one in particular that bounced out. It was more the second one. It was like what do you mean I can't have everything that I want? Yeah. And I like the second take on that one a lot more. For the most part, I'm glad. I think all the emotions came through. So very good work on that.
Yeah. It's always the thing. You're just like the bit you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say the variance in emotions. I think is definitely gonna help your chances there. I do want to make one critique on the third line. As funny as the second take was, and as much as I enjoyed it, I felt like it was a little bit exaggerated in the annoyance.
Which line was it?
I can't believe I'm going on this stupid date with say to her.
It's literally it is pronounced differently in England. So
I know.
I think it was because I'm reading through it. They said they wanted something more like a very dynamically ranged actor. In that they wanted to make sure that like the loud and the softs could all be picked up. So I was just sort of like, what better way to do dynamics than to completely over exaggerated? So
I think the dynamic. I get what you're saying. The dynamic was there. It was just kind of like, how do I put this? So upon reading it for the very first time, the first thing I thought of, or at least the way I would have done it personally, is kind of like you have like a note or something like that, and you're just ripping it to pieces. Like, I can't believe I'm going on this stupid date with that stupid satyr because of stupid Yana. Like. You get more and more frustrated, but there's like a shortness in between each syllable.
Because I was imagining her walking and sort of like just walking to the place and just going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm having doing like in the process of going there." That was my thing.
Good.
But I get it. Yeah.
Any other notes for Ren before we move on?
In particular with the second line and the third line, what I like about those particularly is the first take felt very, very measured, very almost like a little reserved. And the second take, especially in the third one, like Eldurrino said, it was very, very over the top. I kind of like that because it tells I can give this, and I also have the capacity to give way more. I can do from here very much to here. I got this if you need that.
Yes.
It shows to me the capacity to give more, but also dial back. Dial back is hard once you've given too much.
Very cool. All right, we're going to go in alphabetical order here for our Jaeger ones. So And I'm going to start it so the dogs will be quiet while I do this. I'll be right back.
Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let my anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let my anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that's your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that's your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that's your whim, but I will not help anyone like that ever again. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me.
Okay. So this is Jaeger, I believe, is the way that this is. I just put the link in chat if anybody else wants to go check these out.
I liked the variations in amount of growl. I think is probably a good way of putting it. I liked that there was that. I think personal preference. I prefer. I think it was the second take of the second line where you were able to keep that gravelly growl more. That was the most throughout, I felt, and it was more saturated in that, and I liked that. And I think it was the third one of the second or third one, the one where it's like, you don't even know me, like you softened in that one, and I liked that because it showed that even though you're doing like this gruff growl, you're still able to emote through that, which I think can be difficult, especially when you're doing a heavy voice like that. So I felt that was really good, and I think that sort of ups your chances slightly, because if it makes me react in person, I'm like if I go, ooh, that's good, it's like, as a director, I'm just sort of like, yeah, that stuck with me. I like that sort of thing. So I think that was I liked that.
It's definitely a concern that you have when you go into those kind of like really distorting your voice to a role, and that wasn't as deep as I can go or anything like that. And the order I did it was, first take was just my voice gravelier. Second one was me leading in with the growls in order to just have it like rolling from just going in. And third one was me essentially doing my mimicking thing, just taking a similar voice that I had heard with more of an American accent and replicating that for the role.
I would like to say the voice, the actual style of the voice that you chose to do there, I think that's solid. I really like that as far as like the voice for a gnoll, because they're a monster, they're a beast, and having that deep growl, I still can't even achieve that functionally. So I have to commend you on that. Now that I've got the good part out of the way. First line, meant to be more resolute, something a little bit calmer. I feel like it was very rushed, as if like you were very frantic, I guess. A little bit more separation and a little bit slowdown would have helped out a lot, I think. The second one, the energy was there. I really liked the energy. Although I will say that the enunciation of everything was pretty much copied throughout the entire thing. Having some variance on what words you choose to emphasize or where you go with certain inflections will really help bring your takes out and give the directors more to go off of. So just something to keep in mind for your future auditions. And then lastly, the third one, This one was weird. I personally question it a little bit because in the context it says that he's wounded and hurt. I wasn't sure if that was meant to be physical or emotional. I chose personally to do it physical. So emphasizing that in your performance is something you definitely want to pay attention to. Just adding some like grunts or some breaths in there, something like that really will help kind of make it shine.
I had the same like dilemma on which one, and I went with emotional because it's talking to his amnesiac wife. So I figured it was, she had said something that emotionally hurt him. And
I'd say, because they say at most two, I think they said was it at most 2 lines or most 3 lines? Either way, however many they 3. So however many, you have 3 lines to play with that. So if you're not sure, do one of each and then pick which one then you kind of think, and then that way they can go, oh, it was just the way I've written it, but they've at least given me something to work with. So like if you're I think moving forward, if you're ever in a dilemma of not quite sure which way this is going, give them variations of what it might be. I think more is always give more rather than less, because the more they hear, the more they can work with, and then basically
very good point.
Ravenmane?
This is a dangerous thing that I say, especially with the second line, because I agree that the second line felt just a little bit rushed to me. When you're, even if you're on the stage, if you're doing voice acting, this is another one-to-one kind of a thing. Be very deliberate with what you are saying. If you think you went a little bit too slow, go a teeny weeny bit slower, and you're probably at a really, really good tempo. Every single time I've worked on a musical and a director has been like, that tempo felt really good. How'd you feel? I was like, oh man, that tempo felt great. He'll be like, cool, we're going to slow that down 3 clicks and then we're going to be where we need to be. Because in your head, you might think that was really, really good, but what's actually come out on the other end is just a teeny weeny bit faster. In reality, the adrenaline of really getting that down. Also, Eldurrino mentioned something that I really love, because I love when people talk about this. I think the most important thing you can do when you're reading lines, especially in this capacity, because basically what this is a cold read. Pick a couple of words that, in your opinion, are the most important words in a sentence. Sometimes there are objectively more important words than others. Most of the time, it's whatever. You can make a compelling argument that any word is the most important word in a sentence, asterisk. So especially with the last one, I like that in the third take, there were deliberate choices of this word is more important than this word, so I'm going to put a little bit more emphasis on this word. That was really nice. We like that a lot.
Yes.
I was happy with that and that one, and then it was weighing up, do I go back and just redo everything with more of that in mind, and the amount of time that I had ready, and
I honestly, when I started hearing I like the voice that you use. I can tell that you practiced that particular voice well, so it's going to be a good fit. If you take what Eldurrino and said and what Ravenmane has said into mind, for sure, make sure you control that emotion, especially when you're doing a voice. You tend to monetize your performance, so you have to learn to play with that a lot more. So, all in all, very awesome. Any last words before we play Eldurrino's? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. I may be a monster, but I am not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that is your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that is your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me.
Good. Okay. As you've mentioned, it's not a voice that you practiced often. Obviously, be careful when you're doing it, especially if you can't hold it for more than 5 minutes. It's not going to be something that you'll be able to do. I mentioned that before. Drink your water. Stay hydrated on that. Otherwise, I love the emotions. I loved, especially in the child killer line. I saw that there was a good range starting at, and then you spiked at a very good point. You showed you could yell because that was one of the requirements for the role. So very cool.
As a bit of a self-critique, I felt like the second one was a bit aggressive in a way. I know he's meant to be wounded or hurt, I assume physically anyways, but I feel like maybe it was a bit like angry, I guess, as opposed to kind of like I don't know, when I was doing it, I imagine him kind of like almost crawling on the ground, like holding a wound in his stomach or something. So I don't know.
My only critique with it really is that the first couple of takes, at least in the beginning portion of it, seemed a little one note, like your range didn't appear straight away, so I was starting to worry, but then it turned up later with the shouting and the angry ones. I think it was because I was trying to follow it. You've done a lot. Yeah, it was the second take of the first one, which I think, because it went dirt, then dirt, if you know what I mean. It was a long line. I think it was the second half of the second take of that first line where I was like, I think was better, but the first one felt very...
Yeah, because it kind of peaked a little bit with, I realize that now.
Yeah. But I think... that's my only critique on that. Those ones sounded flat, but the later ones sounded good. So we always say to put like the best foot forward. I would have put the second one first, personally.
And see, that's an interesting thing to bring up, because I've always thought that you would want to do it in the order that is listed on there. I don't think I would break up the order of the lines, but you bring up a good point.
I meant
the takes.
Oh, gotcha.
The take. I think the second take should have gone in front, and then sandwich that one in between in case that was more, in case that I didn't, again, we don't know what they want, because I didn't do those, but from what I'm hearing, there was more of a dynamic inflection in the second one, so I would have put that one first, and then if they were looking for something different to that, they could have heard that you can keep a tone for an entire length, which is quite good as well.
Cool.
Sure.
But
yeah, cool. The first line, first take definitely had a movie trailer guy feel to it. But in a world where
nice.
One man, one girl, it's
and now we know who to go to if we need that.
Again, one of the ones I've just been doing for years is but yeah, because for getting that sort of deep graveliness, that just comes purely from the chest. You barely restrain it with the vocal cords, and you just let the mouth form the words. But again, the problem with that is that you have to really focus on the up and down inflections, and trying to get emotion into it is really tricky. And and sometimes it turns one note. But the third one, the grunts and stuff for the pain definitely came across there. But yeah, I guess the kind of the counter thing of like thinking about who he's speaking to and why, because I felt like, I tried to load in that kind of history. I'm not sure what the history is, but with amnesiac wife and the line, you don't even know me. There's a weight there that could have either a little bit more hesitation or a different inflection, or it's tricky with the growly, gravelly voice, as you're saying, to come up with something that isn't just aggressive,
right?
But on the little heh, it's written on the script as just heh, but running with that and making it like instead is really good,
right? Yeah, like I said, with the third line, I felt like I did it a bit more aggressive than it should have been. The way I perceived it was more like a surprise, like you don't have your memory, you're not supposed to know that kind of thing.
Right, just more matter of fact. Yeah.
And I guess I could have put a little bit more emphasis on the "you don't even know me" kind of. Yeah. So okay, no, that's good to know.
Yeah, but also something that wasn't explicit in the direction. It's, right. Yeah, again, things
that's
you can
voice ask.
So, yeah, you come up with it on the spot. That's perfectly fine.
True.
I in the third line, the second take, I do like that to sell like I read wounded hurt. I am playing this wounded. You added that like that like grunt of like pain right at the beginning, and it's like okay, I understand the circumstance. We're powering through having this conversation. I like that. In the first line, there's like 5 ellipses, and I wish that we had taken those ellipses and kind of honored them a teensy bit more, kind of given them more, because like the way that I read scripts in general is like a period is like a thing you look at that's a second to breathe. Very, very generally speaking, it's like you see a period, we take a breath. With an ellipsis is like a real long breath. An ellipsis is almost like we're moving into a new, like this is a new thought. We were going this way, we've gone this way now. So I wish that we had let those, especially after I realize that now, because we've realized that now we're making that right turn into talking about anger. Yeah. So I wish that we had let those breathe a little bit more.
And that could have just been a simple editing error, because I basically, in the recording, there was that space, but I chop that out to get rid of any background noise or huge breaths that I might take or anything like that. So I might have just squished it a little bit too much. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're
spiritual level.
Yeah, that's a good point on that first line. Like on an initial glance, before I went through and really studied it word for word, I thought it was like an interrupted and then rethought statement. I thought it was, I realize now. I realized and yeah.
Cool. All right, let's listen to Ravenmane. This is I'm looking forward to this one.
Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back, and I won't.
Oh, let me start that over.
Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back, and I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if it's your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me.
Breath acting. I heard it. Obviously, yes. You're a tenor. 100% you're a tenor, sir. Thank you for doing it.
On reaching those lows that you did.
Yes.
I think we all
it definitely felt like you're pushing it out, trying to push those low notes out every time, and I think that kind of started to do this a little bit.
Low note plus gravel is because it got me thinking a lot about how you can have low and clear, which is more of a natural singing thing. Low and gravelly is a thing that definitely takes practice.
Yeah.
I still feel all of your emotions came out. Especially, I felt the anger. I felt the growl came through really, really well. So don't give up. Don't give up on the low gravelly voices, my friend.
Yeah. I would. I was just gonna say, you could definitely tell like that is not something you're very used to, which is totally fine. It's not for everyone, and it does take a lot of practice. I know that firsthand. But I agree with Zamoody. Emotion was definitely there. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And I like the emphasis that you were using. What was the
I will not, I think.
No, it was Christ, where was it?
Was it the chowcular line, I think? Kill me.
I
if
don't
that's
remember
your-
which line, but there's a period there after the sentence, but you kind of you sandwich them together. You know, I think it was the second line. You want someone like that, find someone else. You know, like I love that kind of like playing with words and not necessarily paying attention to punctuation all the time. Like it's easy enough to read things off the page, but to interpret it in a different way, in a natural speaking tone, or emphasizing a certain emotion, I think you pulled it off really well. Obviously, you're a trained actor, so it makes sense.
Award-winning.
Yeah.
Award-winning actor.
I would say maybe try and speak softer. I think still keep the low registers, but don't, just to stop you, just to help with the not having to try and force it out. Just sort of like imagine that you've gotten close to that person and you're speaking close to their face, maybe. It might help with giving you practice to be able to stay in that register, and gives you more room to play with the different emotive emphasis without feeling like you're squeezing, if you know what I mean.
Well, while I agree with that, to kind of learn how to get into that type of voice, it's a lot of breath. It's a lot of.
I'm never going to be able to do it myself. So.
Right. I'm just saying, because I've been doing like metal style hard vocals for many years now, and I know it all comes from the breath. If you do it more quieter, you're gonna start sounding really airy like this.
Yeah.
A full, growl instead. So it's a lot of the throat muscles and a lot of the diaphragm. So, but yeah, I mean, starting soft to kind of get into that voice does help, and then after you get comfortable with the throat, then you can use the breath more to kind of push it out and really get a nice I wanted to say clean, but it's not clean, but a nice powerful tone.
Yeah, doing that kind of shouted whisper, I've heard it described as. There's a radio play, Thrilling Adventure Hour, that has a Batman parody character called Philip Fathom, Deep Sea Detective. And it's just a straight up Christopher Nolan, Batman voice parody. And the voice actor for that talks about how, you just wreck your voice doing a shouted whisper all the time. And it's because that's all throat. And
I know we're pushing up on Renara's time. We're gonna do the last audition here, and then Thank you. All right, here we go.
Everyone in my party has lost something. We all want it back. And I won't rest until we get home. I realize that now. I let anger consume my life once. I won't let it consume me again. I may be a monster, but I'm not a child killer. You want someone like that? Find someone else. Kill me if that's your whim. I will not help anyone like that ever again. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't know that. You don't even know me.
All right. I just went with one take of each, by the way.
Sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I loved that last one. Oh, I think it was the small little throat clicks, like the pause, the wait, what sort of thing, and it just came through within those like first couple of seconds, and that one got me. It was just sort of like you could really tell from the amnesic side of things, like the pain / the surprise / the you don't even know what the hell sort of thing. That really came across really nicely, and I was just sort of like, I just want to say I really like that one. I think the first one, again, it did to me. If it is the first one meant to be resolute, is that what you said?
Yes, it is a resolute.
Okay, for me, it didn't sound as resolute, but the little bit like the I'm rambling because I can't find the right words, and I think the word I would describe it is choppy. In that there was again, it was more blocky in the sense of the emotion was a bit all over the place, I think, for just the first one, really. because the ending bit, I'm trying to remember what the line was, but the ending bit of I realised that now seemed slightly different, like detached from the rest of it, in the sense of it was a different emotion to what you'd started with, and it was kind of like not sure what's happening here. But again, second line was more sewn together, and then third line was, oh, I love it.
For the first one, there's like a line between resolute and stoic, and it was more stoic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Resolute has like a determination to it. Mm-hmm. It's I'm saying this because I've made up my mind. The second one, I got hooked on the I will not do that. The emphasis on that part of it was, I will not work for anyone like that ever again. That was spot on. I like that.
For sure. In contrast to what other people were saying, the first one maybe didn't sound as resolute as it could have been, but I did enjoy the fact that it was clearer. There wasn't the growl in there yet. The growl was more emphasized during the peaks. You know, like when you're being aggressive, that's when you decide to add in the growl, as opposed to just normal speaking tone. It's low, and there's kind of some growl thrown in there every now and again, as well as some raspiness. So I actually enjoyed the first line, the way you had done it. And I think the emotion was there. I guess it kind of depends on how you see resolute. I mean, I guess it did kind of lean on the side of stoic. But I don't know. Personally, I think I enjoyed the first line. And then the third one, was I don't know. There's something that rubs me the wrong way about the way you said you don't even know me. Like the emphasis on the no was like, I don't know. It's strange to me because it's his wife, and while she is amnesiac, like it almost sounds like they aren't even together. And so I don't know. That could be up for interpretation, obviously, but I don't know. It was just odd. So that's it. Not really a critique. It was just striking, I guess.
Looking at these lines in the first one, what I like is that the first chunk of the line, everyone in my party has lost something and we all want it back. It didn't feel very resolute, but the line that came immediately after that, and I won't rest until we get home, it seems like almost like the resolution was building and then came out very much right there. Like that's when resolute clicked in, which I like. Because I'm very much of the opinion that acting is basically all about building something very high and then jumping off of it.
I love that.
Just taking the dive. I agree with Birnam. I really like that. I will not help anyone like that ever again. We picked, just because, like I mentioned earlier, just pick and choose words that are the most important. Those words can very much be one after another. With the last line, that you don't even know me, what I like is, to my way of thinking, looking at the context that has been given, we're wounded, we're hurt, and we're talking with our amnesiac wife. What that says to me is that my amnesiac wife has said something that has hurt me profoundly. So it sounded and felt to me like you were lashing out at your amnesiac wife with that line. And it makes sense because we've mentioned in this character's bio, we're stoic and quiet, but also very aggressive.
That's a good way of looking at it, actually.
Yes.
Well, I'd love to play the other ones, but I'm gonna call it at this point. You guys are all absolutely awesome, so I'm gonna set this up, and my dogs are gonna go crazy at the worst time. Birnam, thank you so much for being here, my friend. This is great to have you on. I 100% appreciate all the comments you've done, all the emails that you've given us, the topics. Thank you very much. We're so happy that you're getting along in this journey. And hopefully we will get you that first role in one way or another, or you will get it and we'll come back and hear all about it.
I will keep you in the loop.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ravenmane, I'm sorry.
Dwarf roles, I'll send them over your way, Birnam.
Yes. So we have Nord or Dwarf. We got a person and we got a movie trailer guy. So awesome.
Yeah.
Ravenmane, my friend, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you sitting down and partaking in all of your wonderful award-winning wisdom and acting ability. Yeah, I love your shirt today. For those of you that can't see it, the blue bandana, absolutely. If you're wondering what we're talking about, either check it out or check out episode 3. That's when we interviewed Ravenmane. Other than that, guys, I think we talked about it. We're gonna hand this off to Renara to do the intro for next week.
I'll continue the story of our intrepid adventurers. You shall see what happens.
We shall see what happens. From all of us, all of you, any parting words, people, before we go?
Never give up. Always do what makes you happy. Make more stuff. Never give up. You are amazing.
Yeah.
Have fun.
100% have fun. Guys, this has been great. We will catch you all next time, Sunday, 1 p.m., twitch.tv/Zamoody. You can check us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. If you have any questions or you would like us to listen to your audition, please send us an email, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. If you have a question for anybody specifically, whether it be a directing question for Renara, a growling or shouting question for Eldurrino, something singing or voice control for Pashley, and hell, I'll even include you, Ravenmane, because if you don't want to answer it, it's perfectly fine. But if you have any acting questions, award-winning actor, Ravenmane, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Snaps, yes. This has been a great deal of fun. Thank you all. Appreciate each and every one of you. We will see you next time. Keep those auditions going.
Keep going.
Keep going. And until next time, that's a wrap. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.